Hello, this is Todd D. We're back on today on another anime topic. Today we're going to talk about the anime series Attack on Titan. I know a lot of people have been wanting me to talk about Attack on Titan, but this is what we're going to talk about today. I have a couple videos I'm going to talk about Attack on Titan on, so this will be some content I'm going to do for a little bit. This video today we're going to talk about the story and the rating of the show. What do I think of Attack on Titan? As far as Attack on Titan goes, I love the series. I think the series is probably one of the most thrilling adventures I've ever watched, and it's one of the animes I think I've watched from day one to the bitter end. And there's animes where I take my time watching them, because when it comes to anime shows, I'll watch, 6 episodes each of a 6 episodes each of an episode when it comes to an anime. But when it comes to Attack on Titan, it's one of those animes that makes you want to watch more. It's kind of like the Death Note, where, okay, the more you're liking it, the more you're wanting to watch. And Attack on Titan was just that series to me that just didn't want to stop watching. So I would probably watch 10 episodes of Attack on Titan. When the first season first came out, I was probably watching up to 10 episodes of that series. So I probably finished Attack on Titan within 3 days at least, the first season, because I was watching big episode numbers just to finish it, because I didn't want to stop watching because of how good it was. And I find these Titans in this series so dang scary. I wouldn't even understand how to cope and fight these things. I feel like if these things were out in real life today in modern time, we would all be doomed. We would just be dead. We wouldn't be dead as a doornail. We would be just massacred, blood everywhere. We would just be, yeah, we would be food for them for sure. But it's real. But these things, though, they have some of the most frightening faces I have ever seen on these things. Like, you got some Titans that run around with smiley faces, and just because they're smiling doesn't mean they're happy to see you. They're happy to eat you. You have some that have these frown faces, like sad faces, like they're not really happy to be there, but they're not really happy to be there, but they're gonna eat you anyway. The others are just like angry faces, like, oh man, like it's really interesting how these Titans just of this show just come out, and it's quite frightening how they just invade your village, your town, your all that, and just destroying everything, and not just that, but killing all these people because they're cannibal. And it's really interesting how these Titans kind of progress later on, because later on these Titans do learn how to, like, some of them, not all of them, but some of them learn how to communicate and talk like a human, which is really frightening to me because I would not like that at all. And I don't know, it's a really interesting series, and I find Attack on Titan probably one of my top favorite animes, along with many others. And because I'm pretty sure I did an anime list. I don't know if I did or not, but I might do an anime list sometime of my top favorite animes that I like, and I'll tell you what I mean by my favorite animes. Um, I find it really interesting to. I find it really interesting to get into all these different animes and stuff, because I don't know, Attack on Titan just has a different feel, and I'm sure it does for a lot of other people. But it's really interesting, and it's really interesting how the governments in this series are really just not the greatest people in the world, and the fact that all these people are trying to fight this Titan war And you have Eren Yeager, who learn her later on turns into a Titan later and just fights off the Titans, but later on becomes kind of the villain of the story later. And there's a thing I read where Eren Yeager was kind of a villain all along. It was just a building progressive spot with him later. And it's really interesting when he became a villain because it made me kind of want to like, okay. And so yeah. Um I think my favorite. I think the openings, the opening themes of like the series are actually all pretty good too. Especially the opening of the first movie series, and then the opening theme songs are actually pretty great as well. Um, I feel like the opening themes really tell the story of what's going on and what you're about to progress. My favorite one though is actually like the very first opening theme, the one that starts it all. That one's like a classic theme and has been a meme for quite some time as well. Um, but yeah, um, I think some of the characters in the show are actually all pretty good, pretty cool. Well, they all have different things about them, their desires, and everything. And one of the things I like about it is like there's these characters that you have in this show that do get killed off, and you like them, but then they get killed off, and it's like, what happened? Why did they die? But then you have the ones that are surviving that have a story about them and their continuation, and everything. You got characters like Eren Yeager, you have Levi, you have the one girl that's normally called Potato Girl. You have Armin. You have Annie. I'm trying to think of some other character names, but you have all these different types of characters in this series that literally have their own purpose and everything a part of this show. And it's all interesting how they all progress and the story about each and every one of them. Um, One of the other things I like about this Attack on Titan show is the fact, there was one part in the show where they wanted to go to Eren's house down to his basement to get like information about those Titans and everything, because because Eren's dad was a scientist, he was a professor, and they thought trying to go to his place would be a good idea to try to get, but they all get like obliterated and like destroyed and eaten, and so they end up having to kind of retreat. And it's kind of interesting how they went on to go out in the wilderness where these Titans are at, which is Titan country. And these Titans are freaking insane. Like, these things can run, these things can leap at you, and not just that, but these things they're not to be underestimated. They're really interesting. And like I said, they end up talking later, which is really interesting, which is really frightening. Sorry, I'm saying interesting a lot. Um, but I think the series is really good. The manga is really good as well of the story. I've actually kind of reading a little bit of manga as well. I'm actually finishing reading the manga as well. The manga is, like I said, is very very good as well. Definitely has a different tone, not really a different tone, but different has a lot more things going on, understanding throughout the story of the series and stuff, which is really good. Um, I think one of the things of this show I like Levi's character pretty well. I like the fact he shows no mercy to them Titans. He just takes care of them like nobody's business. Um, Eren is quite an interesting character as well because he starts off as a hero character when he first Titan, then he becomes like this villain. But like I said, they say he was kind of the villain all along. It was just building it was just building to it. And I think that's what's kind of really interesting about the series is that hero goes bad. And it's really really interesting, and there's a lot of villains out there. There's a lot of heroes out there that do start off as a hero and eventually go bad. So we've seen that, formula multiple times, and it's really interesting how they tell the story about that one. I think another thing I like about Attack on Titan is I like the anime, I like the art, I like the story, the characters, and but what are some things you guys like about the series of Attack on Titan? Like, what are your favorite things? What do you like about the story, the characters? Like, what are so many things you like about the series itself? Um, Comment section below, let me know. Where do I rate Attack on Titan? I rate Attack on Titan at a 10 out of 10. I think that is where I rate that at. And like I said, it's an anime show that I've watched from season 1 to the bitter end. Since they are kind of making another sequel to another series, like another season to continue it. I think I read somewhere that they were gonna cap it off with a movie too, but I don't know. So we'll see. Um, but I think that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. Comment section below, and if you like this video, hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit your button as always. And I'll see you next video, and goodbye.